Good morning. Thank you for joining us for the January edition of the Listen Lakeland radio show. This is a show highlighting people, places, activities, and organizations that make our community an exceptional place to call home. I'm Carol Phillipson with Lakeland Vision, and today's show will feature a profile on Lakeland's Guardian Ad Litem program. Guardian Ad Litem was established in 1980, now in its 40th year of being a voice for abused and neglected children. I am for the child is their mission statement. It is a volunteer-based state agency to advocate for the best interest of abused, neglected, or abandoned children. The GAL program recruits and trains volunteers to go out in their community to visit children separated from family, gather information, and work as a vital team member. Today we have with us the GAL recruitment coordinator, Kathy Amon. Kathy started volunteering with the Guardian Ad Litem program in 2015. The program got her attention from a family experience with the dependency system in another county. Kathy became a child advocate manager in 2016, and she has been recruiting new volunteers since late 2019. She is honored to get others involved in this rewarding work the Guardian Ad Litem program does for abused and neglected children in the system. Kathy, welcome. Why should someone choose the Guardian Ad Litem program over other volunteer opportunities?
Well, being a Guardian Ad Litem volunteer, we make a direct impact. We form a bond over a period of time with the children that we serve, and we bring hope and joy and love to these children in a very personal way.
What are the requirements to become a volunteer?
First, somebody interested needs to fill out an online application. Then I will contact them and we do an interview. All volunteers are required to do a background check, and there's no cost to you, but I make those arrangements with Heartland for Children. And we require 3 personal references. And we're doing all training now online with I Am for the Child Academy, which includes 11 chapters. It takes about 15.5 hours. And also our trainer, Molly, will put together webinars and help people engage and get through the homework quicker.
With that required time commitment, can you do it on various days, or do you have to do it all at one time?
You do the homework at your own pace, and we ask that it's within a month to 6 weeks to get you certified and with the case and working with children.
Please tell us some of the types of things that a GAL volunteer is required to do.
Well, their main job is to visit the child at least once a month. We gather information and make recommendations before the court for the children. And so we're in contact with their caregivers. We're the school teachers, daycare workers. We get records for medical needs and school records. We make assessments. You work as a team. Our volunteers work with the child advocate manager, and also an attorney is on every case. So a volunteer can also have a mentor when they're first starting out, and we gather information to make recommendations for our children.
Does the volunteer also work with the case manager?
Yes, every case has a case manager from the Department of Children and Families, and we work together as a team. We help get information for them, and we get information from them as well. They let us know how the parents are doing on their case. We also contact the parents and form a relationship with them as well, because our initial goal is to reunify the children with their families. That is our primary goal, and we try to help that in the process.
Right now, with the pandemic, do you do video chats instead of actually going to see the child? And what happens with the court hearings?
Yes, we are doing video visits. There is a one-time essential visit with our families when we first get on cases. We're not going in the homes, but it can be from your car or, outside, taking precautions, of course. And if our volunteers aren't comfortable doing that, it's not required. The child advocate manager will do it, or another volunteer in that area. So our court hearings are also by webinar, and Molly, our trainer, is working with our volunteers to do a training in observing what happens in the court hearings. And then you get off after observing for about an hour, and then she goes into detail what was happening. So it's not going to be totally unfamiliar when you're starting.
Thank you. And what is the time commitment involved in volunteering? If I'm working full time, do I have time to also be a guardian ad litem volunteer? And what happens with court hearings, which occur during the week?
We have many volunteers that work full-time jobs. The main job is to see the child, so you coordinate your visits with the caregivers in whatever time works with both of you. And if you cannot attend the court hearings, your child advocate manager and our attorney is present with every court hearing as well. So that's never an issue. The only time when the volunteer needs to testify in court would be when if the parent's rights are terminated, and you would be given a subpoena to do that as well.
Can you talk a little bit about termination of parental rights?
Yes. Unfortunately, in some of our cases, the parents are unable to complete their case plan. A case plan is an agreement that we make with the parents, all parties involved. They involved having a stable home environment, stable jobs, depending on what has happened, to bring the children and the family into the system, if it's drug issues or mental health issues or hazardous conditions. Those are all part of a case plan, and it is the Department of Children and Families' job to prove that they've done everything in their power to help the parents achieve the case plan. So we are trying to get our children permanency within a year. And because a year in the life of a child is a very long time. So in that process, parents are given multiple opportunities to get help and do their case plan. And if that is not happening, I've had cases where parents, will just go to another state, will not be available, are not visiting with their children. So in some of these cases, they have to, after a period of time, their parental rights can be terminated and the children will be adopted. So that's the worst case scenario in dependency. The dependency court is not a punitive court, but that is a very serious action taken by the court because it's not reversible. So they give them every opportunity, but unfortunately, some of the parents are unable to to safely take their children back into their home.
So if a parent, for some reason, kind of falls off their case plan, are they given support to get back on the case plan and given more time to work
Yes.
through the issues?
Yeah, typically if they're doing anything on their case plan, their parental rights will not be terminated. If they're showing, you know, an interest and ability in doing anything, they are given multiple chances to get help and complete their services.
And what type of support is given to the parents?
The case manager will do whatever they can. They can help them get an apartment by doing like first month's rent, last month's rent. They can give them bus passes if they're having transportation issues. They can, they just help assist them in any way possible to go do their visits, go do their requirements, their classes, that type of thing.
So the parents are given assistance. What type of support is the volunteer given to help the child?
We have a lot of resources available to us, different community organizations. We can help them get clothes. The clothes closet comes to mind. We recommend services for the children in court if they need therapy, if they need tutoring. A lot of our children come into the system with medical neglect, a lot of dental issues, things that we can help the children get a better start in life and get the help that they need.
How safe is it going to visits in the homes in the non-COVID period where you would go to visit either in the foster home or the home of the caregiver? How safe is that?
Well,
and what support is given?
The children are placed either in a relative, a non-relative, or a foster care home initially when they're removed from the family. And those homes have had home studies done on them, and they check their backgrounds of everybody in the home over the age of 16. And we just need to make sure that our children are safe where they are, and see where they're sleeping, make sure there's enough food in the home. But all of these places, when you initially go on your first visit, you can have someone go with you, and it really relieves a lot of anxiety or fear in going into a new situation. And you get to know the people, you talk to them, and establish relationships with the caregivers. So we just need to make sure that they're all getting everything that they need for the children and that they're safe in their placements.
So you're doing a case plan, and at what point is a time frame determined for you to complete that case plan? And then what happens? How do the children get moved back into the home?
That's a great question. Once the parents are engaged with their case plan and getting good feedback from their places that are helping them, their referrals, then as long as they have a completed home study and they're showing that they can be a stable placement, they have stable employment, then the kids can be returned to the home with a safety plan. And once the children are reunified with the parents, we are still on the case for at least another 6 months. And that's when the parents receive in-home parenting. They come into the home 2 to 3 times a week. The case manager's visiting, we're visiting. So there's lots of eyes on the children in the home, making sure that they're going to school, they have food and clothing and everything that they need. Also, they get help with getting the children on a schedule, any behavior issues that they're experiencing. They just have a lot of support when they get back together, and we like to make sure things are going well before the case is closed. They don't have to complete their case plan fully for the children to be returned, but they do have to be making progress and getting help.
So is there any kind of transition as they're going from the foster care caregiver situation before they actually go home? How does that all happen?
So when the children are transitioning, initially the visits are supervised by the Department of Children and Families, and we observe those visits. We want to see how the children and the parents are interacting. And then after they're ready to be transitioned into the home, they will go to unsupervised visits, and then they will go to unsupervised visit. Well, initially it's unsupervised in a public place, and then when their home study is complete, they can start some overnight visits, and they have 2 or 3 weekends that are overnight visits to see how things are going, and then the children can be reunified if all is going well at that point.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So how does someone become a guardian ad litem?
Well, we have informational sessions once a month, and first they need to fill out the online application, and then I contact them for the interview, and we go forward from there. We're doing all the training online, and they get support going through the training, and then we get background checks done, and then they fill out some paperwork, and then they're connected with their child advocate manager, and they start looking for a family for them to help.
So can the volunteer take the children on their own to, say, McDonald's, or how does all of that occur?
Yes, we do get your driver's license and insurance information. They do a quick check, and then you get a letter from the state saying that you can transport the child. And this is a time when, if you want to take them to the park, take them out to get ice cream or lunch, just doing things one-on-one is when you can really bond with the child, and gives you an opportunity to hear them, to be able to feel comfortable in talking with you. So that's the time when the bonding really happens, when you spend that one-on-one time together. If you're doing visits, you can go for a walk. You can go play on the playground in the back, playground set in the backyard. You can just make different opportunities to bond with the child. So I've even picked up children to go on visits with the parents. And if children are separated, sibling groups are separated, we want to make sure that the children are getting visits together as well. So that's another important aspect that we advocate for, because if they're long distances apart, it can be a lot more difficult for the department to schedule transportation and that type of thing.
Do they usually try to place siblings together in a foster or caregiver setting, if possible?
Yes, they do try to keep siblings together. They are a good support for one another, in addition to being removed from their parents. But oftentimes with larger families, in the foster care placements, they can only take a certain amount of children. They try to keep them with family and family friends as well, but it is more difficult with the larger families.
What about visiting the children at school? Are you allowed to do that?
Absolutely. It's a great idea. I know with our teenagers, it's good to ask them first if they feel comfortable with it because they have a lot of peer pressure saying, oh, who's that? Is that your mom? Is that your grandma? Um, so definitely ask your teenagers before doing that. But with the little ones, they absolutely love company, somebody taking them to lunch or, visiting them. So it's absolutely, we want to have those contacts with the teachers and the schools to see how they're doing, monitoring any behavior issues, any issues with learning. Because a child that is in a state of trauma, their brain shuts down, they go into survival mode. And even though they're sitting in school every day and attending, they can't take in new information. They might be looking at the door to see if somebody's going to come and take them away, or they might be developmentally challenged. A lot of our children are born drug positive, and they'll have more struggles in school. So we definitely want to be in touch with the teachers, and it's good to alternate your visits in the home, and you can also observe sibling visits and parent visits. And then we want to be in the schools as well.
So when you walk into the school with all the security restrictions and all, how do they know who you are?
Well, you need to bring your order appointing guardian ad litem. You also have a badge from our office, and they typically take copies of your badge and our paperwork to have in their file, and then you will be signing in every time, and they get to know you.
So if someone is not able to give the time to become a volunteer, what are other ways that they can support the program?
We have one new interesting way to help. We have designed a license plate, and it's a specialized license plate you can get at the DMV to help our program. It gets the word out that we're here because many people don't even know what we do. And all the money goes to the nonprofit foundation to help our children. Other ways is at Christmas time, we gather presents and have them available for our volunteers to give to our children. And they can also give to our nonprofit foundation, which is Speak Up for Children. And they do a lot of things to help our kids.
How does the Guardian Ad Litem program, you're speaking for the one in Polk County, how is that structured throughout the state, and what support is given by the state to the programs?
Our main office is in Tallahassee. There's a lot of legislature that happens at the state level. Alan Abramowitz is the executive director, and every county, every circuit, I believe there's about 20 circuits in the state of Florida. We're also nationwide. In some areas, it's called CASA, and down south, it's Guardian Ad Litem. But we've been around for a long time, and we operate under Statute 39 for the safety of the children.
Thank you. Are there any other things that you think our potential volunteers should know about the program, or questions they might ask that we're not thinking of?
Well, I know a lot of people may be intimidated, thinking this could be very difficult emotionally to handle. But I just want people to know that you get a lot more out of it than you give, because the children are, for the most part, so appreciative of somebody wanting to be involved in their lives, and you really make a difference for a lifetime. I get several people that volunteer that had guardian ad litems in their life as a child, and they really made an impact and wanted to do the same for another child. So even though we can deal with some difficult situations, there is a ton of reward involved in it. And just knowing that you can have a positive impact, give a child hope, help them laugh. You can be a child with them. What they want is one-on-one companionship, and to be in there with them through the journey really can make a huge difference in a child's life. You can always also mentor the parents, help them. A lot of our volunteers, you're going to be meeting some phenomenal people in the process, from the foster parents to just people that are out there, case managers, service providers. There are some wonderful people out there that really have a heart to help children. And there's really no requirements, but to have that heart to help a child that has been abused or neglected in our community, and you can make a direct impact. And just getting the word out to people is a huge help as well, because so many people don't even know what we do.
Thank you. And I personally have been a guardian ad litem volunteer for 2 years, so I can support everything that Kathy has told you about it. It is very rewarding. I was hesitant because of the emotional commitment, but I am very glad that I did it and continue to work with these families and the children. Now, the way to get the information on this is you can call Kathy to learn more at 863-534-2531, or go on the website www.becomeaguardian.com. Listen Lakeland is brought to you as a collaborative project between Lakeland Vision, the City of Lakeland, and Hall Communications. Truly a community working together to provide an exceptional quality of life. And we thank you very much, Kathy, for coming on and telling us about the program, because I know I get a lot of questions about it, and hopefully we will recruit a lot of volunteers from this program. Thank you again.
Thank you, Carol. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and thank you for your time as a volunteer as well. We have 1,124 children in the system at this time, and we're appointed to 56% of those children, and it's our goal to be appointed to 100%. So we do have a ways to go, and we can use every volunteer we can get. So thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity to let people know about our program.
Thank you. And as you can see, even though we're in the midst of a pandemic, it is still possible because of technology to get involved. You can use FaceTime, you can use video chat, so you can still volunteer, and it may be a little while before you can actually physically see the children, but you still can volunteer. So please consider it. Thank you.